Jump in, everyone. 135 Austin-based companies just hit the Inc. 5,000. What does that mean to our city? What does it mean to our home prices? What's happening in the world of mortgages and inflation? Let's connect and find out. With that in mind, I am going to bring in Mr. Mark Karetskiy.
Back again.
Back again, Mark. So good to see you. We had a little hiatus last week while I was at the Tom Ferry Summit gathering with like 6,000 realtors from around the globe.
I know I was going to say you're a bad friend for coming up to Dallas and not saying hi, but I know real estate events and they're jam-packed, so I get it.
It was incredible. I mean, to be surrounded with realtors of such high caliber was phenomenal. I mean, you had Andy C. in from California. His team alone did like $22 million in revenue last year. You've got rock stars like Glenda Baker and some big Austin folks. I mean, there were realtors from everywhere. It was amazing. It was amazing. We had a whole crew there
Well, and Tom Ferry, I mean, I've only seen him live once, but he is a man that commands all of the attention, and he knows exactly how to speak to us real estate people. And it seems like we all listen. So keep it up, Tom Ferry. You're doing a great freaking job, man.
He really is. He is agnostic when it comes time to brokers, and he just, when you see the groundswell and the value that he provides, it is phenomenal. And so there was a lot of talk last week, as you can imagine, of realtors from all over talking about the economy, talking about what's happening specifically in their market, talking about what's happening with buyer conversations and seller conversations that they're having in their market. And quite frankly, there's a lot of the same conversations that I'm having here in Austin. So what does that look like? It looks like in our case in Austin, we have returned to pre-pandi levels of homes available for sale. We're just around 9,700 homes for sale now. And we're also globally at this place where we are at same lending rates that we were just a few years ago. So the tide has turned.
The tide has turned, and within it brings a lot of opportunity. I think there's definitely a lot of people that should have sold earlier, and they've just like been waiting on like how high does the market go. So I think we've got to get through that inventory. And I think what I'm seeing, so the last couple of weeks, they were relatively slow. I'm already seeing, and I think there's so much psychology behind what's going on, and like mass psychology. It seems like there are more buyers thinking about or dipping their toes back into the housing market now, seeing that there is more available inventory, seeing that homes are not being listed and then immediately gone for hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking price. So I think, like we've talked about before, Jennifer, with anything good, there's bad. With anything bad, there's good. And so I'm a man that looks for the opportunity and helps my clients take advantage of it. And that's why I love working with you, because you've got that same mindset.
Absolutely. I mean, last year at this time, when houses were average days on market of 12, we're now up to 22, which is awesome. Because
a seller market.
Oh, yes, it is still a seller market. However, there was this period where, if you even flinched and didn't make an offer, on day zero, your odds are of getting a house were between slim and nil. And so what we've seen now is that there is an opportunity to not only go and see these houses, there's now an opportunity where buyers have an opportunity to negotiate. And that's going to be part of the topic that we're talking about tonight, which I'm super excited about. And also the fact that sellers now require agents that can market a home and negotiate like nobody's business in order to maintain and create the story and show the true value of each property. So for that, I'm excited because you know me, I'm a marketer at heart. So I'm really excited to start again being able to tell the story of a home and allow a space where someone can actually envision their life in that next chapter.
And so there you go. I mean, that is opportunity for agents that know that they have to be marketers first that sell real estate. This is their opportunity to shine. And so there's going to be people and agents that take multiple steps back.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a few that take leaps forward. And so it's markets like these that really help separate the true professionals, the ones that are really dedicated to their craft, versus the ones that got in because they heard real estate's easy and everybody's selling homes and, oh, I can get a license too. And so I think for the industry, for the market, for each market, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. This is definitely a time where the cream will rise, and there's a number of people that will no longer be in this industry. So all of that aside, let's focus on what's happening in the world for buyers. So I really want to talk about that tonight and focus on the fact that there's a buying opportunity out there that a lot of people don't understand. And we call that buying down the rate. And I want to talk about that tonight with you, Mark, because the math, the data, these are the things that are going to drive a lot of decisions for buyers. And so with that in mind, let's talk about what it means to buy down the rate. And we're going to, I think tonight we're just using what are sort of the July median prices were. So for those of you who follow real estate, like we're always looking at lagging numbers. We look at last month's numbers to get, the information. And right now, Austin is around $515,000 is the median price range. So I think that would be the best place for us to look and talk about what's happening in the market with, we'll leave inflation at the door for now, but let's just talk about the mortgage rates and what they are today, because even 2 weeks ago when we connected, rates were flirting around 5.25%, and right now we are almost at 6. So let's talk about that as well as buying down the rate.
So at the end of the day, whenever we're talking about the majority of real estate transactions, they're primary residence purchases. And when somebody's going in to purchase their home, what they're ultimately doing is they're really signing up for a payment.
Mm-hmm.
So payment and monthly affordability is always what's going to be driving the market and buyers and affordability, right? And so over the last 24 months, we got absolutely spoiled with the lowest interest rates in the history of mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And so homeowners and home buyers were able to afford, in some cases 25, others 50, 60, 100 grand more than they could with market rates before COVID, and as you love to call it. And so what we're seeing right now is really all of the stimulus and all of the backlog in supply and all of the difficulty in logistics, everything that's going on like macroeconomically, all of that means inflation. And so that is what really drove interest rates up, especially mortgage interest rates. And so what that meant is home buyers that were either searching and they weren't able to get an offer accepted, they were searching, they weren't putting in offers, or they weren't putting in good offers, they can actually no longer afford the same amount that they could afford. And so why is that? It's monthly affordability. And it's because interest rates are higher. Now monthly payments are higher, right? And so that is really the reason why a lot of buyers have either taken a step back or a step out. And that's why a lot of other buyers are actually seeing that, reacting to it, and actually stepping in, right? And so for the buyers that are stepping in, they have an opportunity today that they have not had since really like 2018, early 2019, which is to actually be able to negotiate with the seller and perhaps actually get a credit from the seller. And so there are a lot of different ways that a loan officer can customize and create a specific strategy for a client, right? One of the strategies that can be utilized is buying down the rate. Now, me personally, the way that I operate, like with all of my clients, number one, we need to ensure monthly affordability. I need that monthly affordability to be really determined by my client, not by telling them this is how much you can qualify for a loan. From there, I'm a naturally cost averse person. So I'm going to be trying to keep the cost down. And finally, but not really, not necessarily like least priority, but I want to have the least out of pocket option to get into that home to get that monthly affordability at the lowest cost, right? And so when we talk about buying down the rate, there's the traditional, the consumer, the borrower, the home buyer, they buy down their rate, which is, I mean, it can work. It can work for some. It can be counterintuitive for others because you're paying money out of pocket up front to basically get a lower interest rate. By doing that, you get a relatively lower payment. By doing that over 30 years, you're going to get a relatively lower interest paid, right? And so that's really the benefit of points. However, that out-of-pocket cost that it takes to get to that monthly reduction in payment, it can take 3 years. It could take 5 years. It could take more. It depends on so many different circumstances. And so in historically speaking, and especially ever more recently, homeowners don't stay in their loans more than 5 years. And so by definition, more often than not, when consumers use discount points, they're not actually benefiting from them. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Homeowners and rates and benefiting. Let's go. Why don't we look at the example? Would that be cool?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's put some numbers.
Where am I? Share screen. Let me go over here. Of course, now that we're recording, it doesn't want to do it.
Of course.
Share. All right. Can you see it? I think you actually have to bring it in. There we go.
There we go.
So, you had brought up earlier the median home price in July, which is right around $515,000 for Travis County, Austin.
Yep.
And so we talked a little bit about kind of what market rates are looking like today. We'll come back to it more, but I wanted to keep really constants. And so what we're looking at is basically a seller that is listed or they are asking for $515,000. And if a buyer does 20% down with the market rate at $599, give or take, what they're looking at is a monthly payment of about $39.18. I always round up, so just bear with me. I'm always going to do that. So with a $3,918 payment, they're looking at just under $117,000 out of pocket to get there.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And so what the example is, and this was literally like an example that we had recently, our buyers wanted to put in an offer at $500,000 because, hey, given everything we've been talking about and everything that buyers are hearing, why not, right? If it's sitting there, let's put an offer in. If we do that, we can see the monthly payment comes down, right? It comes down by a whopping $72 a month. Out of pocket comes down right around $3,000, right? Yay, big win. Not really. And so what we wanted to show you is basically, well, let's say we give the seller the 515. Let's say they're just not they're gonna laugh us off at 500K, right?
Okay.
If we give them an offer at 515, but then we ask for a $12,000 credit, we can now use that $12,000 credit to buy down the rate, which brings our payment down to $36.95, let's call it. just under 3,700. And it's actually for less out of pocket than if the buyers had offered the 510 to begin with. And so what does that actually mean? It means $224 a month less than that asking price that the sellers had. It also means that the seller is much more likely to actually take this offer because they're getting $2,000 more than what they would be with that 500K offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're trying to do here is really create a win for both sides and enable a transaction to actually take place and benefit all sides. And so when we look at it over a matter of time, it starts to really add up, right? That 500K offer, as opposed to 515, that's only $2,100 in savings for the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if they do this strategy and they get this 12 grand credit, it's almost 15 grand that they're saving. That's
all right. Sorry. So what I'm hearing, Mark, just is if I wanted to retitle this and cut to the chase, it's when is $12,000 actually $14,595,000?
What is the efficiency of money?
Pardon?
What is the efficiency of money?
I love it.
Right?
Love it.
It all depends on how it's used and how it's leveraged, because at the end of the day, that's all that money is, right? The reason why I have a job, the reason why you have a job is we know how to handle all of these issues and how to actually help articulate and actually facilitate them to take place.
I love it. So you just like magically turned $12,000 into $14,500 plus dollars.
Yeah.
Without doing anything other than truly understanding how it works. And this is why I like working with you, Mark, because what you can do for buyers in order to make their money go that much further is just, it's not just transactional for you. It's very much a how can I truly help and make my clients' money go further. So thank you for that explanation. For those of you who are watching, who are thinking about buying, a buy down methodology can actually make you money.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It's crazy. But like, so the example is by paying more, you're paying less.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, let's end on a high note. By paying more, you're paying less. I love that. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. It's that easy.
It is that easy. So we needed that was easy button. That was easy. Mark, thank you for a great lesson in the seller buy down tonight. And again, buyers, if you are listening, please stay tuned, because Mark and I are going to be talking about all sorts of things as it relates to the market and having your money work for you. We're going to be giving you little snippets about what's happening in the market here in Austin, Texas. And we're going to pretty much be coming at you every single week going forward. And if you have any questions, please comment down below, and we will be sure to take those comments and see what we can do to roll them into our upcoming shows.
Right on. Well, so as a little teaser, what we just talked about, this is a permanent buy down strategy, right?
Yeah.
There's a way also with the permanent buy down strategy, the cost of those points, they're non-refundable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so next time I'm going to break down for you a way for you to do this in a refundable manner.
Ooh.
So that way we make sure that no cost goes to waste.
I love it. Okay. Stay tuned next week for Jennifer and Mark. I'm Jennifer S. Goodman, living in Austin, Texas. Here with you today is also the one and only.
Always a pleasure. Loan Officer Mark. If you need me, just Google me.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. I'll make sure we include all the information for your contacts, your 10K card, all those things in the show notes. So
I just want to say it.
all right. It's all good. It's all good. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.